In this video, I'm going to show you how to turn a room full of junk that looks like a dump into a dream gaming room. So don't miss the video, because what we're going to do with this room is going to be fantastic. Well folks, to start our project, the first thing is to show you how the office looked. In the last year, it was only used as a storage room for the workshop. So to begin this project, the first step is to clear everything out in order to work. As you have seen, the room is red, but before changing the color, we need to consider the layout we are going to give to the room. So we assembled the new shelf. Assembling this type of shelf is very simple, and we don't need any tools since everything necessary for the assembly is usually included. Once we have assembled our new shelf, we start putting together our new desk. This desk is from the brand FlexiSpot, and it's amazing because it is a height adjustable desk. Once we have the frame assembled, we need to attach the tabletop. We open our package and place it on the floor, then we set the frame on top. Since there are different sizes of tabletops, the structure of the table is quite adjustable. We need to loosen some Allen screws located in the center part, and we can open it up until it matches the size of our tabletop. Then we can screw everything back together. And once everything is connected, we put on a cover that it brings to hide all the cables, and we flip our table over. Now that we have the furniture assembled for our room, we can look for the arrangement we want. My main idea is to place the new shelf under the window that faces the street and the other one on the larger wall to put the TV. The problem is that the large 4x4 shelf throws off this part, and the best idea was to keep everything symmetrical. Since I already had this shelf from before, the best option is to modify the ones I already have. So to save money, we are going to convert the 4x4 shelf into a 4x2. To do this, we disassemble part of the shelf until we remove the sides that we need to cut. Once we have disassembled the part that we need to modify, we measure what the 4x2 shelf has and cut it. Once cut, we just need to reassemble everything, and in the part we have cut, we need to make new holes to be able to screw. We will leave this side of the cut, which shows the raw wood, facing down, and it won't be noticeable when the shelf is in place. Now that we have a clear idea of how our shelves will be arranged, we are going to make some legs so that they are not touching the ground. For this, we will use 110mm PVC pipes and cut 3 pieces of 10cm for each shelf. Once we have them cut, we sand them down and paint them with textured plastic paint in black. Once the paint is dry, we will create a carpet base for the part that touches the floor. We apply a bit of glue to the edge of the tube and stick it to the piece of carpet, applying pressure to ensure it adheres well. Once the glue is dry, we trim everything neatly and they are ready to be placed on the shelf. To place them on the shelf is quite easy. We just need to align them properly so that they don't wobble. To attach them, we put a bit of glue on the edge of the tube and stick it directly. We repeat the same process with the rest of the shelf. With the leftover wood from modifying the shelf, I made a small ledge. But we are going to use this to replace the display case I have in the workshop, and we will move the display case into our room. In the next step, we are going to modify our desk by creating a board at the back that will hold our monitors. The board will be the width of the table and about 70 cm in height. Once we have our board cut, we mark where the table will be screwed and make the holes. In the upper corners, we mark with something round to create the curves and sand a bit to smooth it out. With the shelf ready, we place it on the table and level it to screw it in. For now, since it will only be a temporary setup, we will just secure it like this. Later, when we have it painted, we will add more reinforcement. To continue with the room, we are going to assemble the IKEA shelves. The large shelf comes with a metal bracket that we need to position on the wall, level it, and mark the holes we want to screw in. Once marked, we just need to make the holes in the wall and insert the anchors, and then we can screw in the bracket. Once the bracket is screwed in, we check that everything is level, and then we can put up our shelf. For the small shelves, we do not have metal brackets. We need to leave some screws slightly protruding and hook them into the metal attachments that lead to the shelf. We draw a level line and mark the distance for the screws, then we make the holes to insert the plugs and screws, and we place our shelf. Once the computer area is finished, we move on to mounting the TV. To install it on the wall, we will use a fixed screen mount that is very easy to install. The first step is to use a level on the wall at the height where we want to place the bracket and mark the center of the room. Then we place the bracket in the center, we mark and drill the holes, and then we screw it in. The other part of the bracket is screwed onto the TV port. This is usually universal and has various sizes to fit our television, although in my case, it was actually a perfect fit. The screws also come with plastic stops to adjust the tilt or the distance of the TV from the wall. Once the bracket is in place, we need to remove the TV stand, and then we can hang it on the wall. Now that the television is installed, we can measure how far to place the shelf. This, just like the television, will be placed right in the center of the wall. We will also be mounting the monitor brackets. The ones we are going to install are adjustable to various positions and are more comfortable for the computer. The main monitor will be positioned normally, and the secondary one will be vertical. The installation of the monitors is similar to that of the television. We need to remove the stands and screw the bracket from the bottom at the back. Then we go to our desk and mark roughly where we want the monitor to be placed. Once marked, we make the hole at the top of the bracket and position it without tightening. Then we check the level and mark the screw at the bottom before tightening everything properly. We do the same with the other bracket, and then we can place the monitors to see how they look. Once the monitors are mounted, we set up the tower and see how it looks. To pass all the cables from the monitors and the tower, we are going to install some grommets. We will put one for each monitor and two for the tower to be able to pass all the cables. We will also place another one at the bottom in the center in case we need to pass any USB cables or any type of cable on the table. We can almost start painting the room, but before taking everything apart, we are going to install the cable covers on the walls to keep all the electrical installation hidden. We need to cover all the wiring that goes from the outlets to the computer and all the way to the television and the shelf under the window. To attach the cable pass-throughs to the wall, we will make some holes, mark them on the wall, and screw them in. Before disassembling everything, we are going to make one last modification to the shelf to fit the amplifier of the sound system. To do this, we are going to remove one of the shelves to create a larger space and thus be able to place the amplifier inside the furniture. We disassembled the top part of the shelf and removed the wood, then reassembled everything. This wood that we removed is secured with a dowel that goes through the wood below. So we have to take out the plug and trim it so that it still holds the bottom part. Once we place the trimmed plug, we paint it with a black permanent marker and leave it concealed so that it doesn't stand out. Since we know how the layout of our room is going, we start to disassemble everything to prepare for painting. Before removing the cable covers, we take a permanent marker and label them so that it will be easier to install them later. We can mark them with numbers, symbols, or letters, whatever we want. I prefer using numbers because it's easier. Since we are going to prepare to paint, we remove all the decorative covers from the outlets, light switches, and we also take down the curtain. The first step for the painting job is to thoroughly clean the walls of clumps of plaster or cement. When I painted the room red, I didn't complicate things. But now we are going to do it right. So, with a putty knife, we will scrape everything off and remove all those imperfections or clumps on the walls. Now that the walls are scraped, we will remove all the imperfections with putty. With the help of a putty knife, we will fill in the cracks and imperfections we have everywhere until we leave the wall as perfect as we can. While we let the putty dry, we start covering all the outlets with masking tape and also cover the boxes of the light switches. We need to cover everything well because we are going to paint the room with a paint sprayer. Once we have our putty dry, we use a sanding block to smooth everything out. This is similar to sanding putty on a car but coarser and with less finesse. We also need to cover the windows. For the window facing the street, we have the rather ugly aluminum frame filled with cement and scratches. So, since we are going to use a paint sprayer, we cover the entire window except for the frame, and that way we leave it nice and white. I just mentioned the color of the room. Once everything is covered, we clean the floor well and cover the entire baseboard. To protect the floor, we place large cardboard sheets and move them as we paint. Now that everything is ready, we prepare our paint sprayer and the paint. We have already started painting. Since the color underneath is red, it will be quite difficult to cover it, so we need to apply at least 3 coats. We are not going to paint the ceiling because later we will make an installation and it won't be visible. Once we have our room all white, we remove the wallpaper and put back all the decorative covers for the light switches, the light boxes, and the curtain. We are also going to install all the cable covers. As we have marked, this will take a little while. Then we will continue assembling the rest of the things like the TV and the shelf. We will also place the desk in its spot. In the next step, we are going to install the PS4 on the wall. We should have done this before painting, but the mount arrived later, so we are doing it now. The support holds 2 controllers and 3 hooks that secure the PlayStation to the wall. First, we position the PlayStation on the wall at the desired height and make sure it is level. Once marked, we install the screwed supports and then place the board. And as always, we check that everything is level. For the controller mounts, they come with double-sided tape. so we place them level with the bottom of the console and that's it. And now we just need to run the cable installation to the TV. To keep them straight, we use hooks that hold the cable and are attached to the wall. With this, we have our PS4 installed. To complete the other side of the TV, we are going to make some shelves with 2 boards that were left over from modifying the black shelf. We cut these 2 shelves in half and took out some 4mm strips from them. Once we have everything cut, we apply glue to one side of the small strips and attach them to the large board, creating a base with this to be able to stick it to the wall. To cover the holes on the sides, we cut some custom blocks and painted them with black permanent marker, just like we did with the shelf for the amplifier. On the part of the wood cut to disguise it, we apply masking tape, cut it to size, and paint it with a black permanent marker. And to stick it to the wall, we use double-sided tape and level them. In the next step, we will start with the electrical installation of the TV. We begin by attaching a power strip right behind the TV and run the cable through our cable cover down to the floor, where we plug it into another power strip that comes from the outlet. In the power strip for the TV, we also connect the power cable for the amplifier and run the cable up to the height where it will be installed. We also need to run the cable that sends the sound from the TV to the amplifier and place it next to the power cable. While we are working on the amplifier installation, we also run the power cables for the speakers, taking a line to each corner of the room from the amplifier. Before reassembling the TV, we are going to install some ambilight lights on the mount. These are from the brand Gove, and thanks to a camera that detects the colors on the screen, they are the most effective in this type of lighting. Another thing that catches my attention is that we can control them with Alexa, with Gove, or through their app. To stick the strip to the TV, we need to clean the base well with some wipes that come with the core and then stick the strip directly. In the center of the TV, we attach the central unit and also attach the camera, connecting everything to the central unit and assembling our TV. Since we are working with LED lighting, we are going to install RGB strips on the shelves. We will stick them along the edges of the shelves at the back so that they illuminate the wall. We will also place strips in the center, and these will be independent from other controllers to create color combinations. For the lighting of the display case, we also place an RGB strip that completely surrounds the inside to ensure it illuminates everything we put inside. To control all the LED strips we are installing, we will install Wi-Fi hubs instead of remote controls. We will also use all connections with 4-pin connectors in case we need to move something one day or want to disconnect any light connection. To make the installation, we will use 4-pole cables with RGB colors. For the installation of the shelf, we extend the cables down to the floor, securing the cable with staples to the wood, and we put a 4-pole connector at the end. For the installation of the Wi-Fi control unit, we will connect the centers of the shelf to one control unit and the exterior to another. We will also run cables from this control unit to the corners of the room to illuminate the audio columns. Once we have all the cables routed, we connect all the control units, organize the cables properly, and connect the power supplies. Once we have the installation done, we place the shelf in its spot and connect everything. On the white shelf, we also need to run the RGB cables so that they light up the same way, and we leave the connectors installed on the audio column cables. Here in the corner, I have left some prepared cables that you will see later for what they are for. We also connect the display case and install a Wi-Fi hub just for its lighting. In the next step, we are going to put up some posters to decorate the area around the TV. The posters are 60x90 in size, and we have two options for displaying them, either buy a frame or make one. In my case, we are going to make it using a 3mm white laminated wood. We cut a piece the same size as the poster and apply glue stick evenly to all the white wood. Once we have applied glue to everything, we lay out our poster and with the help of a spatula, we spread it out as if it were a sticker. When we attach the poster, we use a black permanent marker on the edges so that the color of the wood is not visible, and we repeat the process with the rest of the posters. To hang the posters on the wall, we are going to make some rectangular frames to hold the posters 2x2 and add lighting. So we cut some strips of wood and create a frame of 160x40. Once we have the frame assembled, we cover it with 2mm wood, which will help us hide the LED lighting. To secure the posters to the frame that will be mounted on the wall, we will attach small wooden wedges to the back of the poster that will help hook onto the frame. Before painting the frames, we screw them into the wall and hang our posters to see how our idea looks. To paint the frames, we will use black plastic texture that provides good coverage. We start by painting the inside face of the frame, and once we have applied 2 coats, we begin painting the exterior. I hadn't planned to cover the marks from the staple here, but they were quite noticeable, so I had to apply putty, sand it down, and then apply a couple of coats of paint until it was well covered. Once our paint is dry, we move on to installing the LEDs. We will install one strip on the inside and another on the outside. Just like we did with the shelves, we put in some 4-pole connectors for the connection and keep the outside part separate from the inside to connect it to an independent central unit. Now that the LED installation is complete, we screw the frames to the wall, and the cables we had prepared in the audio columns are for the LED lighting of the frames. To run the cables to the frames without them being visible, we will use more cable covers. We stick these directly to the wall with double-sided tape and lead them to the part where the frames have the 4-pole connectors. Once they are mounted, we run the cable inside and put on the covers, and we will have the installation ready. Here in the area of the play, I didn't like how the cables looked, besides the fact that they were coming off. So, with the cable covers I bought for the posters, we are going to make 2 pieces to pass the cable through and make it look more interesting. Since the aesthetic of black looks good, we are going to paint this in black. Once the paint is dry, we will stick it to the wall and run the cable inside, and that's it. Now that the TV wall is completely finished, we move on to the computer part. We disassemble the desktop board and mark a square on the underside of the table to allow for the installation to pass through. Next, we cut some strips, and on the back, we create a frame for the installation of the LED strips. A little white glue is enough to attach the strips. Once the glue has dried, we place the board in the painting booth and apply a few coats of primer to cover everything well. Once it has dried, we take it out and sand everything with 400 grit sandpaper to smooth it out, and then we put it back in the booth to paint. To paint the table, we will use Montana spray in satin white, which is similar to that of the desk. This way we can do it faster than with a gun. We apply several coats with the spray until everything is well covered, and that's it. Once it is completely dry, we reattach it to the table, and now to reinforce it, we will add some brackets to the underside of the table to provide more strength. We reassemble the monitors and the tower and begin with the cable installation. We connect the HDMI cables from the monitors and the power cables. To keep the cables organized, we attach them to the monitor's support and position them in such a way that they do not experience any pulls when we move the support. We also ran the power cable from the tower and connected the HDMI adapters, linking the monitors to the tower. To make the installation more interesting and organized, so that when the table rises and lowers it doesn't pull any cables, we are going to place self-adhesive bases to secure the cables to the tabletop. In this part, we organize the cables as best as we can so that everything remains hidden and well organized. We also install the microphone on the edge of the table and connect the rest of the computer components. We will at a later stage in our process replace these with wireless ones, which will be more convenient and efficient, so we won't go into detail. We also securely attach and fasten firmly a 3D printed support for the headphones to the table. For this particular webcam installation project within this setup context of ours, we shall create an adjustable support using GoPro accessories specifically designed for versatility. We carefully attach said GoPro support behind our monitor screen and adaptively modify it such that it allows us flexibility when screwing on top of its structure, another component, namely the webcam's own supporting mechanism. Additionally, we still need diligently run both power cable leading towards desk area alongside HDMI cable, originating from fabric extending all the way up until reaching tower. We are going to use a 10-meter HDMI cable and run it from the fabric to the computer, leaving the excess behind the desk. For the computer's power cable, we will use a power strip. To secure the cables to the wall and prevent any pulls, we will screw a base in place and fasten it with a zip tie. Once we secure the cables to the wall, we connect the HDMI cable and tuck the excess behind the desk. We will stick the power strip under the table with double-sided tape and connect all the power cables, including those from the table. Once everything is connected, we test raising and lowering the table to ensure that all the cables are secure, do not get caught anywhere, and remain hidden. We reassemble our shelf and adjust the height of the table so that it does not bump into the large shelf that is right above it. In the frame we made behind the desk table, we placed an RGB LED strip. Since there was a lot of space between the LEDs, I brought them closer together to provide more illumination. At the back, we connected another Wi-Fi hub to control these LED lights and took out another connector to run another LED strip to the large shelf we have right above the desk. We also place LED lights behind the monitors and connect another Wi-Fi hub to control them independently. Now that the desk is finished, we are going to connect the audio columns. These columns are made by a manufacturer that has a YouTube channel, so I don't have a video of how I made them. The columns have a silk tweeter, a 3-inch mid-range, and 2 8-inch mid-ranges from the brand Scorpion Audio. The tube is upholstered in Alcantara, and although it is not very noticeable in the video, they are painted in white fur. The columns have LED lighting at the back, inside the acrylic that holds the small speakers, and at the part that faces the floor. Since the installation is already prepared, we just need to connect everything and it's ready. In the next part, and the last of the LED installation, We are going to make a cloud ceiling like the one seen on TikTok. The materials needed to do this are pillow stuffing, a stapler, white sheets to cover the ceiling, digital LED strips, and spray glue. The first thing we need to do is cover the ceiling with the white sheets. They need to be white so that they reflect more light from the LEDs. It's a really heavy job, so the larger the sheet, the better. Since I bought A3 size, I thought of using a 404 thread to make it faster to cover the ceiling. Once we have the ceiling covered, we start with the installation of the LEDs. I had 4 strips of 5 meters each, and to make it more original on the ceiling, we will connect one strip to another in pieces to create branches and thus distribute more LEDs across the ceiling. Once we have the LEDs prepared, we just need to stick them to the ceiling in a way that they are well distributed. For the middle part, we are going to install 2 5-meter strips from the Ambilight brand of the TV. These illuminate much more and have many more functions, but we cannot cut them, so we have to use the complete 5-meter strips. Once we have the strips attached, we complete the entire installation and conduct a test to see that everything is working. In the next step, which is the worst of all, if you see the work involved, I wouldn't get into doing it, is to glue the filling all over the ceiling. To stick it, we will use spray glue and we will need to make balls with our hands, applying a little glue and sticking them to the ceiling one by one. This really helps someone because it goes much faster. As I tell you, if the ceiling is very large, it can take days to fill it completely. After a couple of days struggling with the ceiling, we finally have it all covered. Although the cloud ceiling has significantly improved the room's acoustics, we are going to install some soundproofing panels on the wall. We will place 2 rows above the window that leads to the workshop. To place them on the wall, we draw a level line and mark where we will start putting the panels. And to stick them, we will use the same glue that we used for the cloud filling of the ceiling. Out of the 24 panels included in the package, we have 6 left over, so we are sticking these on top of the window faces the street. While we were working on the ceiling, the new peripherals arrived, so we took apart the old wired ones to install the new ones. To start, we are going to set up some new wireless headsets from Mars Gaming, which are white and match the desk. These come with a microphone that we can remove if we want, and to connect it, we can do so wirelessly by plugging a USB receiver into the computer or via cable. This operates on battery and charges with a Type-C cable. To connect it, we just need to plug the USB receiver into the computer and turn on the headsets, and they can be used right away. The mouse that we are going to install is also wireless and from the same brand, and it is quite simple and runs on batteries. To connect it, we take the USB receiver that is attached to the mouse and plug it into the computer, and then it would be ready to use. The keyboard, like everything we have installed, is white and wireless. This is what I like the most about everything because of its size and how simple it looks. Besides, the mechanical keys have an incredible feel. Another cool thing is the LED lighting it has. We can change this lighting since it comes with a bunch of modes with different effects. Now that everything is installed, we have our desk free of cables. And to charge everything, we don't have to unplug any charging cables, since our desk has a fast charging outlet. We also have a new white webcam, but we won't be using it on the computer. Instead, since it has a screw adapter for the tripod, we will leave it to provide another angle in the room when we are streaming. With our computer ready to use, we need a chair to sit comfortably, so we are using my gaming chair. I don't know. It seems that after the work in the room, this chair doesn't really fit. I think our Z deserves a better chair. This chair we have here is from the brand Valk, and I never imagined that a computer chair could be of such quality. The finish of the seams and the feel of the fabric are incredible, and the color may not be to everyone's liking, but I love it. The package includes the two parts of the chair, the armrests, the base for the wheels, the piece that adjusts the height of the chair, and in the box, we have the wheel, the telescopic tube for the base that adjusts the height, the screws for installation, and plastic covers for the sides of the chair. I was also given a mat for the desk as a gift, which matches the chair. What I couldn't find in the box were the assembly instructions, but since it's quite simple, we don't need them. The first thing we are going to install is the base support on the bottom of the chair. We place the bottom of the chair upside down, and the piece we are going to install shows us the position it should be in. We take the screws it comes with and screw it in. By the way, what I marked with the arrows are the instructions. In the video, I realized that they are there later. Once we have the piece screwed in, we need to press the telescopic tube in. To attach the wheel to the base is quite simple. We just need to place it in its spot and push it in, and once the wheels are in place, we attach the base to the chair's tube. To put it in place is also very easy. It comes framed with the left and right side and has no loss. At this point, I realized that the instructions are included here, but well, after what we've already assembled, we can manage without them. With the entire bottom part of the chair assembled, we turn it over and attach the backrest. This part only requires 2 screws on each side. Once we have put in these screws, we place the plastic covers and secure them with a small screw and some plugs to cover these holes. And now we just need to put the cushions in place. To attach the head cushion, we only have to loosen the elastic it has, pass it through the gaps in the seat and secure it again. The lumbar cushion is even easier. You just have to place it in its spot and that's it. The adjustments of the chair are very comprehensive. For example, in the armrests we can adjust the distance, the height, we can change the tilt, and we can move them back and forth. And in the chair adjustments, we can recline it and change its height. It's not fair to compare these two chairs, but the red chair is the one I had, and to show you that the difference is significant and that one has nothing to do with the other, To fully complete the computer setup, we place our mat that matches the chair. We already have a place to sit at the computer, but now we need something to watch a movie in our room. So we are going to do the biggest unboxing of all. I believe this part is simple and doesn't need any assembly explanation. After assembling our sofa, we now have the room 100% ready to start decorating. To begin, we will place a baby rug on the floor to remind us that this is a car channel. Our new sofa looks quite dull, so with the leftover stuffing from the ceiling, we are going to make a couple of cushions with GTI fabric and synthetic leather. We carefully cut the pieces to the exact size we want for the cushion. In this specific case, I will make it precisely 48x48. Once the pieces are cut, we will proceed to make an intricate engraving with the laser on the synthetic leather material. We carefully place our fabric stretched tightly on a sturdy piece of wood to prevent it from wrinkling and set the laser to engrave our detailed design. Once the fabric is beautifully engraved, we need to meticulously sew the pieces together and carefully add a zipper. Once we have the cushion expertly sewn, we turn it inside out and fill it to our liking, ensuring it is comfortable and plush.
Try to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away.
Now that we have one finished cushion, we make another one, but this time we engrave it on the other side of the leather with a different design, and then we sew it just like the other one. Let me know in the comments which one you like more of the two, and if you would like me to do a giveaway of things like this. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. In the next step, we are going to decorate the display case. In the first section, we place a drawing of Gohan that I drew, a figure of Goku and another of Gogeta. In the second part, we will put a figure of Assassin's Creed. In the next section, we place a drawing of Goku and a Dragon Ball. And on the very bottom, we place another drawing of Goku, a figure of Trunks, and one of Freezer. And on the top of the display case, we are going to place two trophies from when I competed in Kara Audio. The small cup was the first trophy I won, and the large one was one I won with the car's stock speakers. On the small shelves we have next to the computer, we are going to place a figure of Iron Man and another one I have of Kratos. For the large shelf I have above the computer, we are going to place the cameras and recording accessories, along with a plastic pot from IKEA. For this wall that has a lot of space, we are going to put up some paintings that my mother has made, one of Gogeta and another of Piccolo. To fill this area a bit, we are putting a laser engraving of Digimon. We move on to decorate the TV area. On the right side of the TV, I added a third shelf to complete the wall a bit more. However, the PlayStation area looks a bit plain, so we are going to make the button symbols on wood with the laser. We will do this painted, and what we have done with the laser is cut the masking tape to create a stencil. Once engraved, we remove the tape and spray paint it with a matte black. Once the black is dry, we take several spray colors and splatter paint all over the board. When we finish, we remove the rest of the masking tape and throw a little more paint to smudge the symbols.
But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away. As you fade.
Once all the paint is dry, we stick it to the wall next to the PlayStation with a bit of double-sided tape. On the shelves we made, we are going to put a laser photo of Mie, my girlfriend, a plaque I won in 2014 for being the world runner-up in an audio face category, and for the last shelf, we will put something that belongs to all of us who are part of this channel, which made it possible for me to have this plaque for 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. So even though I have the plaque in my possession, it belongs to all of us. When we reach 1 million, we need to find a new location for the new plaque.
Why you never said you felt that way? Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look.
On the shelf, we are going to put a PlayStation 3, a PlayStation 2, and a PS1. Also a Nintendo Wii that is a bit worn out, but we will repair it when we have some time. We will also place the PS4 games and the Avengers figure to complete this row a bit. Donations of old consoles are welcome to fill the shelf.
When you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never ran.
We are going to decorate the last wall. On the shelf, we will place some fabric drawers to store cables and things we don't want lying around, and we will also install Alexa to control all the lighting in the room.
Yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be
In the remaining space, we place the boxes of the computer components. I don't have anything else, and the boxes look good. For now.
the highway, and in the driveway is a nice range.
At the top, we place the box of the PS4, which is the edition of Black Ops 3, the box of the graphics card, a piggy bank of a faceless character, the box of the power supply, the Batmobile from The Dark Knight with its Batman, the Batmobile of Mitchell Keaton, and a trophy of the bell to complete this part.
Negativity, but I just slide right by.
For the top part of the wall, we are going to make some laser engravings of cars. Just like we did with the PS4 engraving, we will do the same with this. We tape the wood with masking tape and then cut the silhouette of the drawing with the laser. After that, we remove the part that we want to paint. Once the paint is dry, we remove the rest of the tape, and to add a detail to our car, we paint the taillight with a red permanent marker.
Go, 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 go.
Once our cars are ready, we stick them to the soundproofing panels with double-sided tape. If you know what model of car they are, let me know in the comments.
Change, you can flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay.
And finally, the last detail of our room is a wanted poster of Harry Potter.
Start saying, put them on display, on repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more.
Well folks, I know this has been a very long video, but we finally have our room finished. And I waited for it to get dark so I could turn on all the lighting properly, and you could appreciate all the details of the light installation and everything we've done. So we are going to turn off the workshop light so that everything is completely dark, and we will enter the room and tell Alexa to turn everything on.
Man, I still go, 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 go.
Well, I'm already inside the room completely dark and... Alexa, turn on the room.
Vale.